So it's still up in the air if Yuyan is a boy or a girl, because the fever he had was actually not a real fever. It was something he induced by holding his breath, I presume, because of the way he basically dispelled the fever when he was taken to a hospital in the city and left alone by the nurses when they was going to get the doctor. But he was also pretty smart because he stole a bag that he with content that he thought would be valuable. But from what I understand on the chief at the end of this episode, the bag's content wasn't actually very valuable. It was just masks that should be used for a ball later on in the episode, or well, in the series to be more exact. But it's really interesting because those masks actually have very great importance because during this episode, each of the girls takes up the mask. First, we have, let me think her name. First, we have Yu Fang fighting Hannah under the alias Shadow Saber because she basically picks up one of the masks that has fallen on the ground and put it up. And yeah, it's funny that she would say Makio's drawing actually makes some sense. Yeah, and in case you wonder who Hannah is one of the four gods, and she is the cat lolly man, the best one of them all, the best one, I tell you. She's the best girl, man, or at least of the four gods, or well, the best of the two girls of the four gods. And who is the second four god we see in this episode then? It is a girl called Ming, who I'm not sure if it's just Sylvia calling everyone that is a girl Nissan, or if Ming and her is sisters. Because both of them seem to be afraid of Yuriko when she's angry. But still, she seems to also be very, what's called Ming, she seems to be very loyal to the chief. And she's actually willing to fight it, the what's called Sylvia. And she even says that if Sylvia know what she has done, because now she has to fight her. And it sounds like Ming is much more powerful than her. And that's why, shall we say, Sylvia is a little bit afraid until she finds a mask and put it on and becomes Silver Lancer. And then she fights her without basically holding back. And that's pretty impressive considering that I presume that Ming is virtue just like as in Night Rank, just like Gil Hansen, while Sylvia is a much lower rank called Principality. But that's still interesting. It's also interesting that what she called Alice, when she becomes Sunny Lancer after putting on the mask, that she's able to not go toe to toe with Gil Hansen, but at least be able to avoid some of his attacks. So that's pretty impressive. However, I must say that the best scene here, that was Yuriko becoming Rose Lancer when she basically comes up to the chief, and the chief is so afraid, man, so afraid. And when every time she says Yuriko, Yuriko just says Rose Lancer. I'm Rose Lancer. It's so funny that that drawing, what you call Makio, actually held some sense. And from what they are saying, that if Yuriko and the chief is gonna fight, serious, one of them is gonna die. So yeah, this is pretty serious. Also, Yuriko doesn't seem to, or she seems to have feelings for Yojiro, because when the chief is talking about Yojiro like she had, defiled him, she's getting really angry. Or maybe the knights needs to be pure. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. But that is really interesting. It's also funny to see the chief cook. But let's talk about the last four guard, Dogon, who is the leader of the four guards. He actually lets the door stay open so Yojiro can escape, because as he says the reason for this chaos is chief. Even thought he in the previous episode defended her, and yeah, let's say it like this: he likes her, at least I presume so, or maybe he just admires her. So for him to say that, that is interesting turn of event, and of course I can understand that, because after all the chaos he caused, it's kind of obvious. But I wonder how the event will play on, because yeah, you know, now the chief and Yuriko is fighting. So who will be victorious, and will anyone die? That is gonna be the question for the next episode of Lance No Mascara. And I will, of course, hopefully have it out Friday instead of today. But when that is said and done, have a good day, good night wherever you are. I will see you later, guys. Cheers.